Either way, I mean, change your answer to mine or stick with your answer if you want. To me, it don't matter. What the fuck? Is this plugged in? Okay, well, there we go. Hopefully that's better now. Yeah, as I was saying, yeah, do what you want. Do what you want. Follow my lead or follow your lead. Either way, you'll probably be fine. I don't really care about my answers if they're right or not. So, I mean, well, I do, but I'm like not gonna bother to like change them. So. Oh shit! Wait. Add to stream. Oh, there we go.
Hey, brother, can you hear my audio?
Yeah, now I can.
Oh, okay, cool.
I just needed to add you to the stream for a second.
Groovy smoothie. I like that. Great statement.
Yeah, thank you. I have a bunch of random ass saying.
Well, how you doing, dude?
On subjective scale, pretty all right.
Cool. Well, that's the only scale that's really significant, isn't it? At least in our own individual lives, that is.
To me, it's a little bit different. I care more about the objectivity, but subjectivity is all that I really do technically experience. So I'm doing pretty all right. Spent most of today just doing activism.
Gotcha.
So, talked to some public officials, like the village attorney or whatever. And then he sent me to talk to the community center. And then once I talked to the community center, they were like, "Hey, the dude that's here isn't here at the moment, so like, we're gonna give you his card." And then I emailed him, and then he was like, "Yeah, that's great and all, bro, but like, you're not allowed to set up like a bench or like booth in the parks." And I'm like, "Shit, that sucks." So that was basically what I spent my day doing. Just trying to figure out if I could set up a booth in the parks for like antinatalism.
That's dumb that you're not allowed to set up a booth in the park. It's so stupid.
Yeah. I'm also not allowed to have it set up on like the sidewalks because it'd be like interfering with like public traffic or whatever. And I'm like, that's dumb. But at least I found out that I could pay money to get like a solicitor's, whatever it's called, and it allows me to like go door to door and like basically, talk to people and like handle like flyers and stuff. So that's pretty cool.
That word soliciting. I hate that they call it that. It makes it sound so horrible.
Yeah, it makes it sound like something sexual or something weird.
It makes it sound like you're running around like, harassing people or some shit.
Just like, hey.
The voice. Hey, how's it going?
How's it going, guys? Just want to let you know. Just want to like sting y'all, you know what I mean? Just go, no, come back here. No, come back here. Just want to
That's funny, man. Gosh, he's such a great character, man. Very dark character.
Just find me in a fucking back alley, homeless in like 20 years. Just come on, bro. Just we all need to go to Sting. Just tweaking out.
You must be a fan of Beavis and Butthead, man. You do the voice really well.
They're great characters.
They are. Well,
so how have you been, by the way? I didn't ask.
Excellent, Dudelius. I have never been better, man, actually. I'm doing fabulous.
It's good. Is it just like a mood thing, or is it like life things in general that have like shifted?
Well, both mood and situational, man. Things have been great the majority of my life, especially the last like decade or so. But they've gotten like really good recently. Yeah, man, just living the life.
Hey, hell yeah. Yo, I have a question. It's a little personal, but when it comes down to it, do you actually fuck people's wives?
I have a huge amount of offers that I've received. I haven't actually pursued those ones yet.
Okay.
Currently, I have my different girlfriends and women I'm dating that I do that with. I will be doing that within this year or so, though. Yes, definitely. Within the next couple months or so. I'll finally be taking up some of these offers.
I've had weird offers before and proposals. I actually had an OnlyFans for like 2 weeks. It was a social experiment. And yeah,
How did that go?
well, it didn't go very well. I was like, it was kind of the purpose of it was to prove that it wouldn't work out for me unless like I had like some previous fan base and demand before I went into it. And I was right. I didn't make any money. And pretty much what occurred is just a bunch of dudes who are just like, yo, bro, can you do some contributes to my girlfriend? And I'm like, if you pay me.
That's funny, man.
And unfortunately, they didn't want to pay me. So I was just they're like, wait, man, you're not going to come to my girlfriend for free? And I'm like, oh, man, this is a business. This is just for funsies, man. I'm not out here wanting to jerk off to like random people's girlfriends. I'm not that desperate.
That's funny, dude. Very funny.
Which wild. This coconut milk is better than I expected. Yeah, I mentioned you in the stream that I had a couple of days ago when talking about your briefly were talking about like the glitch and evolution that made like pleasure. One of the commenters was like confused by that.
They were confused by that?
Yeah, I was trying to explain to them that like when evolution first occurred was primarily just like avoiding straight. That's like with John Locke, the one that things. So like primarily everything's just significance. But then there's like this one glitch that must have occurred at some point, which creates the illusion of pleasure, which is like on a subjective scale. But that's what you value. So
yeah, I think it's always good to clarify benevolent glitch, because I think a lot of times if people hear the glitch itself, they think bad or something like not specifically desirable, given all set of circumstances, or they think something, they think just kind of along those lines. But in that case, I would say benevolent glitch versus glitch.
Yeah, because when the main program is bad, the glitch is good. When the program is good, then the glitch is bad.
In this case, the program is bad. The glitch would be the at the very least bad thing, and the only bad thing in this case. Reverse theism, my dude.
Dude, theism is fucked up.
It is,
man. I got yelled at today.
By who?
When I was marching, some one crazy lady walked up to me, and I was just walking behind me, and I just like turn around, and she's just like standing there staring at me with like her phone pointing at me, and I'm just like, hello. And I like take my earbud out and put it in my pocket, and she just goes, I'm here to heal your evil deeds. And I'm just like,
I'm here to what your evil deeds? What did she say?
reveal your evil deeds. Like she's like recording me for her phone. And I'm just like, what?
She's gonna put you on her YouTube video on her too. This is a child of the devil.
At one point, like the little like cross thing where you're like.
At this point, I consider those things a badge of honor anymore, man. If somebody were to do that to me, I would just laugh my ass off.
It was hilarious. She told me to look up at some point, and I literally was like that. I was wearing sunglasses, so I literally just stared right at the sun. I'm like, ah, shit, sun. I'm like, it's just life, lady. I'm like, that's fucking wild. Wait a second. Oh, sun cancer. Sorry, skin cancer. Yeah.
That's funny, man.
Yeah, once I said that, she started walking off.
Gotcha.
It was pretty wild. Honestly, religion is like a poison.
Yeah, it is, man. Very much so. Hellish. Absolutely hellish, man. The fact that people can't understand that even the potentiality of evil existing means that the rest of reality is evil by implication is astonishing. It's incredible.
Yeah. If evil even is there to some extent, that means like the person that created or being created it or whatever, like is inherently evil to some extent or another. And they just don't recognize that.
By definition, that's right. They don't get it. They just don't fucking get it, bro.
Mentally, just open your eyes, guys. Like,
yep.
Reality is very clearly full of way more evil than there is good.
Yeah,
like,
dude.
Like, even if somehow pleasure and pain would be in reality, which I don't think they are. But even if they were, there's so much fucking more pain in quantity. Like,
oh yeah. Outweighing the pleasure by a huge fucking degree, man. No doubt. Same degree, actually. It really comes down to it.
Like the average person's life, like my life, I'd say there's like even my life there's more pain than pleasure, and my life is like better than like 99% of people on the planet.
Yeah, same here, man. In the midst of my pleasure, I'm vividly aware of the pain that I'm tuned out from. That's going on just all the time in the background, dude. I'm always aware of that shit. So it's like, it's just like you said, where our lives are like way better than the vast majority of beings on this planet. Humans and other species. I mean, amongst humans, yeah, we're like at the top 1% in terms of luxury living and stuff, even though financially, technically, I'm below the poverty line, but nowadays with modern amenities and stuff, that in terms of my comforts and stuff, I'm totally fine in terms of that.
Yeah, same. I work part-time and live with my parents, and when I didn't, I would live with 3 roommates for a couple of years. If any feds are listening to this, I'm lying. I'm totally lived with my parents the whole time. But yeah, I mean, I was basically working like part-time the whole time, like not even making 30,000 a year. Like now I'm making probably less than 20,000 a year. The job that I'm working part-time, it's like I'm comfortable. I don't care. It's like
I make less than
have kids, so it's like why save up?
I make less than 10,000 the entire year. So yeah, that's
hey.
So
why not? I approve.
But the thing is, I'm living very comfortably, and I'm like, I have the psychology that like people had in the past. More like I do really well, and I can function just fine with not having all that much, and I make things very efficient and streamlined. So it's like I really don't require much at all in terms of money or income or anything like that. But it's, even that with my situation, it's still vastly better than the situation of most beings most of the time. And in many ways, my actual situational situation is even better than many very wealthy people's lives. in terms of the luxuries I have available, the romantic encounters I have available, so many other things. So, people are always talking about the billionaire 1%er thing. I'm like, yeah, I personally feel like I'm living a much better life than a lot of these billionaires I hear about and talk about. So it's really not all it's cracked up to be.
Oh, 100%. Alexander the Great said that the one person he'd want to be other than himself is Diogenes. And he's a homeless dude. And
yeah, there you go.
You're like one of the happiest people I know. And I'm making under 10K a year. And I'm like, hey, that's all power to you. And before, or like homeless, basically, or like Reed McLeod, he's homeless. He's like happier in comparison to like me.
Yes, there you go. And before that, before I was on SSI and stuff, I made even less than that throughout the year. I was just couch surfing with family members and stuff. So, but even then, that's the point. It's like even our lives, as good as they are or have been, we're aware of the suffering and torment that goes on, the micro torments and the grind of the physiological system that's just going on there all the time in the background, the fire of digestion, the urge to need to eat, to take craps, to pee and all this stuff, just the constant like need to wank off or jack off or whatever, it's like the urges, man, they're there. It's like, okay, well, yeah, I engage in the positive pleasures therein and appreciate them, but I'm aware of the torments and the things that are, pushing us. It's like, well, we could just have a situation where we could just engage in these things spontaneously without needing to do them. The problem is that we have physiological needs to do them. Now that's the main issue. And the main point that EFILism brings up a lot, as well as antinatalism, is the problem of, as Emendum famously says over and over, needs that don't need to exist. But unfortunately, they do exist. So therefore, the situation is that of continual torment. And most beings, most of the time, are tormented vastly worse than we are. Animal kingdom is just a nightmare hellscape, top to bottom. And then you've got children throughout the world, in the vast majority of cases, living in really bad poverty-stricken situations, in terms of numbers. And, comparatively speaking, we've just like very recently started to get like modern facilities through a good amount of the world. And that was like a super recent phenomenon. But I mean, even then, like, you still have all sorts of fucking horrible situations. And the advancement of technology is so goddamn clunky and slow, man. It's such a fucking trudging through the mud bullshit process, like full of bloodshed and shit. Just getting the next developed thing in, the next thing. Oh, so like, fucking slow, man.
Commercial products evolve so fast because demand is like so crazy. It's just exponentially pops off. But everything else is just an arduous process. It's so full of like legal bullshit.
Yep. It's insane, bro. I mean, it's incredible how much of an assistive help just abstaining from having kids is. But people they fucking feel like it, and they're gonna do it, god damn it, no matter what. That's the fucking psychology. It doesn't matter what you say or what the points are or anything. They fucking feel like having kids, and by golly, they're gonna goddamn do it. So that's all it comes down to. And us motherfuckers over here, we can't say a goddamn thing about it, because who are we, these little peons who don't have kids and who don't know anything about reality or life? Because we don't have kids, somehow that makes us like less aware of what reality is or whatever, as if having kids is some badge of, oh, you have real life experience now after you've had kids. Oh boy, now you understand everything so much better.
Having kids is a blessing, according to one of the people I talked to
today. As if we can't understand the horrors without needing to have kids firsthand directly,
Pretty much.
It's just
wild.
It's psychotic.
I have a question, actually. Regarding primordialism, and actually Gary. Actually, I'm gonna bring the one about Gary first because you brought up Amendum.
Yeah.
What's your opinion on Amendum, by the way? Because I was on Do Not Watch His stream, and he was like really hesitant about talking about Gary on there because he doesn't want to bring up anything too controversial on this channel. But I'm like, hey, I say go all out here. So.
I'm fine bringing it all up, going all out at any time. You know me well. But basically, the thing with Amendum, and I tell him this directly too, I like to be very consistent in what I say publicly and what I would say to someone directly. I think he's got a lot of really great points. He was one of the first channels that actually brought me into contact with the specifics of antinatalism and articulated it, the points very well. But I don't agree with him on his EFIList specific views. On the antinatalist parts, I do. And I don't agree with any promortalist stuff that he might promote. But I think overall, it seems like he has some good points and a lot of different things, but there just seems to be some strange thing in terms of like this really like negative attitude towards like an excessive number of I don't know what it is. It's like there seems to be like some weird attitude thing that he has towards other people a lot that seems just very unhealthy. It seems very unhealthy, though.
Yeah, I agree. It's definitely unhealthy, but I feel like
it seems unhealthy for him. Like it doesn't seem good for his health that he like has that like way of going about it. Because it seems like a lot of interactions that I've seen. Because I saw like a few interviews and discussions and stuff he had. He just, it's like I don't remember seeing like one instance where he like genuinely clearly showed like deep gratitude or appreciation for somebody else. It was always just like this scoffing, cynical, sarcastic attitude, like continually almost.
Yeah,
and it was just odd. That's all.
Like when he was getting like interviews of Amanda and stuff, he would be really very cynical. Like he wouldn't take any compliments and kind of just be a little bit rude here and there. And it bothers me. Like it's not like it's like we get you're a cynical dude and they're committed to like being like pessimistic and realistic without being like a dickhead, you know?
Yeah, exactly. It just seems like he's way too often like overly frequently just rude and scoffing to people and stuff like that. Like when he doesn't need to be, basically. That's kind of the one critique I noticed. I mean, other than that, yeah, I think overall he has a useful channel and a lot of good information and stuff, but it just seems like a guy that's like impossible to get along with because of how he behaves, kind of a thing, you know? Like, no matter what you do, there's always going to be something cynical he's going to say to you or whatever, or just scoff at or something, you know?
No, I agree. Because I'm not saying anything that Amendum is really not saying. I just think I have like, you know, actually, no, homo. But Amendum's not like a bad look at you in his youth or anything. But like, at least I have like a smile and like charisma to like go with it, and I feel like I generally approval my personality.
Yeah, that's definitely. I mean, there's definitely a lot to be said for just being able to have a basic degree of ability to show genuine appreciation and like show that you're happy to talk to somebody. You know, it's like
yeah, it's like I enjoy talking to him. Like when it hits, it sounds like he's like he just wants to lecture about his like beliefs on physics, but he's like, God damn it, I do need to talk about this bullshit because y'all are fucking stupid. Which is fair. It's true. But like it sounds like, you know, it's arduous for him rather than like passionate. Which it is still passionate because he's been doing it for years. But
yeah. The thing is, even if it is true, it's still not like it's still not good for your health to have that like or psychology or whatever. You know, it's just I don't understand or see how that could be good for his health to be that way in any way, shape, or form. But, I mean, you know, hopefully, at some point, I don't know, I might be able to talk with him or something, you know, live stream or whatever. But,
yeah, I'm hoping to talk with Fury sometime too in the future. It's pretty awesome.
But I'm very satisfied talking to you and the very few other EFILists that I actually enjoy talking to. I think out of EFILists specifically, you're the only EFIList I actually really jive with all the way, or to a good notable degree rather. I think the everybody else who I jive with is an antinatalist, but they're not specifically an EFIList within that whole stuff, or they just have some other view entirely. But
Is Sep an influence, or I think it might be.
I don't know if Sep is or not. Seb or Sep. Yeah, I'll have to ask him, I guess.
I think Sep might be an influence. I know he's also agnostic, right? Because he was on that last.
Yeah, he may be. That was. I really like that. The Do Not Watch's setup for that. It was like a combination of like, seriousness with humor mixed in, like really dry humor that was like just like permeating thing. I was like, dude, we got to do this again, man. This is classic. This is great.
Sep's great.
Yeah, great guitar player too, man.
I haven't listened to him yet, but I believe you.
So, yeah, that's the thing. It's just what's interesting is this last year or so of producing this content and being a formalized, officialized, yes, I am an antinatalist, boom, and going forward in that. It's been really interesting, man, because it's like there's so many burdens from my mind that are like gone, just completely fucking gone, like that just aren't there anymore. That just disappeared because all my life I'd never had an inclination to have children at all. It was just I'd always heard, and it really irritated me. It annoyed the shit out of me when people said this. It was like, oh, you'll change your mind, so you'll meet a girl and blah 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 blah. That whole spiel. You change your mind and this and that, and once you have kids, everything changes and blah. It's like, okay, you don't seem to understand. That's like obviously I was polite to people, but in my head I was thinking, God damn it. You don't seem to get it. I specifically, in particular, have very good reasons why I positively do not want to have kids. It's not that I just don't feel like it or I'm not inclined or whatever the fuck this is. And then I didn't even know that antinatalism was like an articulated philosophical view. I just thought it was like a personal lifestyle choice thing that I was doing. And I come to find out via Inendum's channel and then others afterwards that holy shit, antinatalism is actually like an actual fucking like philosophical movement thing. It's like, this is cool as hell. Because I thought it was just like a personal individualized choice thing. But when I found that out, I was like, damn, dude, it's a totally different world, man. Psychologically, interactively, it's a totally fucking different headspace, brother. From the rest of the headspace everybody else is in. It's insane.
When
it's
I was
not even
utilitarian, like negative utilitarianism, you think it would be very similar because all it is just like utility, but you just cutting out the pleasure aspect. But that shift in mindset is so different. It makes the world like so alien and just like interacting with people.
It's like it's like every day's the goddamn Twilight Zone, man. You know? And it's like even more, dude, it's fucking even more than like my conspiracy heavily involvement days. Every day is like more a fucking Twilight Zone episode with being an antinatalist, like officially, like way more than anything conspiracy related. And that was actually a huge factor in me shifting out of the conspiracy stuff. Because I was like, who fucking needs these conspiracy narratives when like the fucking antinatalism, just reality itself is so obviously a fucking hellscape. Whether it's a simulation or not, that's kind of irrelevant. The point is it's a fucking hellscape either way. So yeah, it's like, you know,
it's like there's all these alien overlords and stuff, blah 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 blah, and I'm like, yo man, if they're alien overlords, I assume that they're more intelligent than me, and I'm a pro-mortalist, and so I don't. These alien overlords, man, like I don't trust you. They definitely would be off in themselves. There's no way they're cosmically just trying to take over the worlds and be like, wow, this is fucking totally worth it. Johnny over there just got blasted off by a different alien race, but you know, this is great.
That's a great point, man. And like in one of my recent videos, I talked about that extensively, where it's like, okay, the Embrace the Dark Wave video, man. It's like, all right, if you're literally, if there's any motherfucking entities out there at all that were benevolent and loving and cared and also had power to do anything with it at all, like, this fucking hellscape would not have begun. It wouldn't have happened And all of these cases of fucking torture and all this horrific shit just would not have fucking occurred if there was goddamn one of them out there or inside ourselves or anywhere, wherever the fuck they are, this realm or another realm. There wouldn't fucking be torture, bro. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's either one of two things. They either don't fucking exist at all, or any beings that do exist are all just different kinds of fucking demonic bastards of various varieties who don't care enough to do anything, who specifically want to keep this going, or who are just weak entities who can't do jack shit about it. Beings who might have love, but they don't have power to do anything with the love, to fix anything. You know? So it's like, okay, best case scenario, it's still not very bright. It's still just like, well, okay, you got a bunch of entities, you know, in their unicorn fairylands having sex forever or whatever, and then, you know, but they ain't fucking fixing anything here. That's for damn sure. You know? So it's like, and so it's like either way, I mean, it's more just like a technical redundancy of that, but okay, if they exist, interesting, cool, okay. If they don't exist, well, okay, that also makes sense too, because they ain't doing jack shit to fix any of this anyway. So, you know, that's the thing. Like, people always have this fucking bullshit narrative. Okay, once I leave this realm, I'm going to fix everything and change everything and this and that and yada yada. But it's like, well, what? Don't you think there's like hundreds of thousands of fucking people who thought the same goddamn thing? Where are they? Where have any of them gone to fix any of this? Like, what? Every time?
Strong enough. I'm sorry.
What's that?
Sorry. Their will was the strong enough, Scott. When I die and I go to hell because God is like, fuck you, bro, I am gonna tear every fucking demon apart. I will devour them and become the spawn of hell, and I will rip apart Satan, and I will come for God.
You know, man, the funny thing is, like, no matter what the person's narrative is, no matter what the fucking, like, I'm going to do this when I leave the state. Well, nobody has done anything so far. So it's like everybody thinks they're the one exception, that they're going to be the one who finally fixes or does stuff. But the bloodstain's already on the rest of fucking reality, like forever. All the torments and tortures have already happened. That's fucking forever on everything for the rest of eternity. Every state, every realm, every whatever the fuck that pops into existence or gets popped out of a unicorn's ass. So it's like, all right, anything that fucking exists going forward is just either a demonic fucking entity, if they're more powerful than human beings, or they just don't fucking exist beyond this state. One or the other, you know.
Maybe it's like D&D, where like if enough people believe in something, it like manifests. So like if we all just like pray to like the what if Ultron, he'll just like break multiverse for us.
And that's the thing, man. It's just at this point, it's too little, too late. There's just so much shit that's already happened already. Like, it's just like, this is the part that the religious nutjobs and idiots don't understand. It's like, we know that alteration of the actual past is impossible. Like, even beyond the laws of physics, the only thing that would ever be possible is replicating every single fucking molecule of like a past universe's situation. But even then, it wouldn't be the actual past. It would just be a replication of the past. So it would technically be just a different thing. So there's no alteration of the tortures that have already occurred to gazillions of fucking sentiences ever.
It's like the Marvel universe says in Endgame or whatever. It's like you can't undo what's already been done or whatever. You can only make a new branch.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and it's just so nutty, man, thinking about it, because all you can do is either tune in or tune out. So it's like, which one do you do? Okay, how much do I tune into that reality today, or how much do I tune out from it today? You know, it's a juggling act. Okay, I'm going to tune into this extent today, and I'm going to tune out to this. You know, for example, the video I watched a few nights ago about the young girl who had her arms cut off by her mom as an offering to God. It's fucking psycho, mom. You know, it's like, okay, all you motherfuckers who believe in a benevolent, loving God, like, fuck all y'all. You're just a bunch of stupid asses. Like, you're a bunch of torturous whatever the fucks. Like, they're so goddamn delusional. It's not even funny. You know, it's like they can just go around and keep living in this world. Oh, yeah, children getting their arms sliced off as offerings to God. Well, you know, God at any point could have just been like, don't slice her arms off, bitch. You know, but No.
Yeah.
Nothing. Yeah. And you could have just fucking prevented her from taking that form of a kid to be exposed to that in the first place. Like, if there was a God, he would just prevented forms and souls from ever being able to be in a place like this, for fuck's sake, if there was a benevolent one.
And it's like,
you know?
I play D&D. It's like if I saw some psychotic lady who was in like a cult and believed like, oh, I must cut off my child's like arm, I'd just be like, major illusion or half level third level spell, have their god talk to them and be like, hey man, I didn't actually mean for you to cut off their arms. I meant for you to cut off the arms of a lamb, like, or something like that, like an actual, like something like some sort of cattle, like something not like your actual fucking child, like Christ.
Well, you know, fuck, dude, she actually, that nut job, that lady, she fucking actually got, and I watched this on the Misery Machine channel, she got the idea for cutting the arms off of that, her daughter, from the fucking Bible verse that talked about, an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. But then it was the if your hand or something deceive you, cut it off or whatever. The fucking statement where it talks about slicing off the hand or arm if it doesn't serve you properly or whatever the fuck it is. So she heard that and she took it fucking literally. So that's the fucking danger in those goddamn Bible verses. It's like you can't say shit like that in these books because you have nut jobs who are going to read that. And they're going to read that literally, for fuck's sake. So it's like, if something read literally is going to lead to a torturous fucking situation, that should not be in a fucking book. Especially a book that's going to be called a sacred book or a scriptural book. That's insane. Like expecting that everybody's going to automatically be able to understand, oh, it's an allegory. Well, it's a terrible fucking allegory, first of all. Number one. That's another part people don't seem to understand. It's a horrific fucking allegory. And it shouldn't fucking be there. And that's proof why it shouldn't be there. And then everybody just goes on, oh, la-di-da-di-da, we keep worshiping you even though you directly caused and also allowed this girl's arms to be ripped off. More specifically, actually caused it, not just allowed it, for fuck's sake. Because God, right, the cause of all causes, God who literally knows every goddamn last little fucking detail, he knew that the mom would cut the daughter's arms off. He knew it.
Exactly, like at the very beginning time when he created the universe, he was like, you know what? I'm going to allow this variation of the universe to be there. That's the one that I want.
Yep. And he pre-planned every last little fucking detail. He knew exactly what was going to happen before it happened. All the child tortures, every last little micro fucking detail of sadism involved in them. He knows about every goddamn detail before it happens, right? It's so hogwash, man. Oh, God. I'm so pissed off that I was raised in that surrounding and setting when I was younger, growing up. I was just fucking surrounded by that shit. The whole first chunk of my life, especially from my dad's end, man. Just all Bible reading, this and that and the other.
If I didn't meet Shamir, I probably would be like going to be a priest right now. I go to a private Catholic school, and I'm a philosophy major. But there are literal theology majors there. And I could easily see myself being in the theology major, being a priest right now. If I didn't meet him. And that's just like a coincidence, It's just
you said Shamir? That's one of your friends?
Yeah, the one that ended up killing themselves 6 months ago.
Oh shit, man. Okay, I see what you mean. Yeah.
But yeah, it's like such a temporary person, and they're they transform my life in so many different ways. If I didn't meet them, I would be like still a shit, like going around trying to save people's souls, being like, "You're damn, give the hell."
Holy cow, dude! So you became an EFIList like really fucking recently, then, bro?
Yeah, I became an EFIList in the last year. I became an EFIList and antinatalist like in the last 2 years, I guess.
Wow.
Yeah, veganism was something I discovered in like the last 5 years and became involved with that. But I was rather antisocial for a long time, so I didn't really. It's like, I agreed with it, but I was like, I can't feel it. But eventually I got to be passionate. But Mira was like, "Hey, bro, you're a hypocrite. Like you're advocating for stuff like production ethics." you yourself eat animals. It's like, you know, it's like you shame these people and makes you feel bad, but you're like, you're causing your own pain. And then, so I decided to go vegan. And yeah. Shortly after that, cutting contact. Yeah, she ended up killing herself. But,
wow, dude. And I'm sorry, man. It's things like that. You know, it's those instances especially just compound everything that much more, because it's like, as good as things are now, I know for a fucking fact, like all sorts of people that I know are gonna, every one of them, in fact, including myself, are gonna die in some horrific, terrible way eventually. You know, if minus technological fixes and I can, like, you know, make myself a god or something like that by just merging myself with like some hyper fucking advanced tech or some shit. But minus that, you know, it's like it's gonna be a guaranteed fucking horrible death of some kind. And you know, if somebody else goes out before me, if all the rest of them are gone before myself, well, I'm just gonna have to be living there, aware of all these horrible deaths that have happened before me. You know, close people that I care about and everything. And there's already tons of people that were close to me that have died in horrific ways already. For fuck's sake. You know, great uncle, one of my best friends at 18 got buried alive. Just bizarre fucking shit, man. Just horrible shit. And to people who it's like, you know, yeah, it's like these people, it would have been better off. The world would have been a better fucking place, like you could even say almost objectively so, if these individuals were still around versus dead. You know, especially my friend, man, who died at 18, buried alive. So it's just stuff like that it's like, it just compounds what you're already aware of in terms of, like, there's no, that's what's amazing about antinatalism stuff. There's no loophole. It's like it's so, everything that happens, it just keeps compounding it as a more and more solid viewpoint, perspective, philosophy, idea, everything else. No matter what it is, it just compounds it more and more and more and more. It's like, yep, here's another good reason to not bring sentience here, and another, and another, and another. You know, it's unending. And so, it's rock solid. That's what people really need to understand. It's like we have a perspective that's solid. It doesn't change based on circumstances. Because you could be in the worst goddamn imaginable situation, boom, still antinatalist, still EFILism makes 100% fucking sense in that situation to like the nth degree. And now, in this, however good things are, it makes total fucking sense to the nth degree. It does. It's like, and that's how you can find a good philosophy or a good stance that is beyond the armchair level. It's consistent in every single goddamn situation, right? Where it's going to be compounded and solidified further, no matter what the context may be, no matter what the situation is that pops up. So, you know, and just by observation of how reality operates itself, you know, that's enough evidence by itself to just show you everything you need to know. So that's why I like antinatalism, especially. It's a thing you can always remain grounded in, no matter fucking what. No matter what happens, it's always what you can remain solid, grounded, and based in. You know,
is your main reason that you're not a pro-mortalist because it's like something that doesn't necessarily apply outside of the objective, and like subjectively speaking, like this, like pro-mortalism might not necessarily apply? Or
well, put it this way. The main thing is because I see how it doesn't solve anything. That's why. It's a non-solution proposed as a solution. That's the main reason I'm not a fan of pro-mortalism. Because it's not an actual solution. It's just kind of like it's basically something that seems like a useful idea that doesn't have functional use. It's kind of like, I would compare it to people basically thinking something on a car has a functional purpose when it doesn't. That's basically how I see pro-mortalism. It's like, okay, there's this totally unnecessary component to this vehicle just sitting there. Let's take it off. It doesn't need to be there. That's basically how I see pro-mortalism. It's like something deemed useful that has no actual use to it. And I can elaborate on that more if you'd like. It's exactly what I mean by that, specifics and things.
Yeah, I think you might need to, because to me it seems like, I understand like the whole idea of generic subjective continuity and like infinity will last like forever. So like experience will constantly be generated, even if like the universe collapses and stuff. But to me, it almost seems like, I don't know how you'd say it. Like, I guess there are bigger quantities of pain that could exist in an like infinity. Like there are bigger infinities, like bigger quantities of pain. Well, like this infinity, the time's the same scale, but like the amount of pain like could be different. Like you could have like a whole entire universe of just like pinpricks, or you could have a whole entire universe of like people being like filleted alive, you know, and one is worse than the other. And for me,
well, for sure, there's that. But,
almost seems like, you
but
know,
that's going to be
experience the better, and if it's like,
so here's my thing. Basically, with the pro-mortalist stance or idea, the main flaw I see in it is that no matter what the case may be, all these different potentials of what could be better, what could be worse, it's basically being for pro-death, pro the ending of life, pro non-life. It's like, to me, it's just a total redundancy, because death itself is also in a position, also. Now, so imposition of life is an imposition, obviously, but death is also an imposition. So I don't see, well, I see very clearly that another imposition is not something that is desirable or a solution to another imposition. It's just two different impositions that are two equally horrific fucking things. That's how I see it, basically. So I don't see that death is any better than imposition of tormented life, because it's just ending of something that, number one, is inevitably for sure, for certain, going to reoccur anyway in some other variation or form, variety. And since it's going to eventually occur anyway, and since there's always going to have to be at least one sentience, ensuring that other sentiences don't pop into existence, eventually get to that state or have to do it. Well, it's the principle of there's going to have to be a form that keeps living. You know, and it's just a matter of, okay, well, what is it going to be? Whose form is it going to be? Who's going to be the deity or the being that prevents other sentiences from popping into sentience, and that prevents torture from ever being a possibility? Who or what's going to do it? And death by itself isn't going to do that. Things not being sentient isn't going to solve it, because, well, you still have the issue, well, we need a fucking sentience that is going to prevent that. So that needs to be the focus. Which goddamn sentience is it going to be that prevents the imposition of life going forward? Not just, okay, let's have everything end and die and disappear, and then, well, you're still stuck with the problem. Well, who's going to be the one or the thing preventing impositions? So it's like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Would you agree with the primordialist idea that, like, on the egoistic scale, like, just like individuals, like, imagine like a universe with like one person in it, like, people are better off, like, essentially ceasing to exist, like, individually. But, you know, because there's like multiple players in this whole life game, we have responsibilities and duties to each other. So it's not necessarily that we ought to take our own lives, because we do have duties to prevent net suffering.
Well, I think I see what you're saying. It's like, if, let's just hypothetically, if there was a reality where there was only one sentience, that's it, and there were no other sentiences whatsoever, and that sentience had the ability to keep doing the living thing, existing, experiencing thing, and it could decide what it experienced, or just do the dying, disappearing, not being sentient thing at will somehow.
Yeah.
You know, the pro-mortals would probably say, well, it's better that it just does the death, non-sentient, non-experience thing. Well, in that case, it's like, well, if there's no source of torment specifically, then it's pretty much a redundancy principle. Either way, it's like kind of whatever. You know, okay, you can keep doing the experience pleasure thing, cool, or you can do the disappear from sentience thing. But in the context of what you're talking about with it, the implications on other sentiences specifically aspect, in regards to, okay, what is the functional use of primordialism in that particular context? Well, it's just, I guess here's what I'm trying to get at. I think the term pro, I'm not pro-life or pro-death either way. I'm pro specifically pleasure in particular,
So
which by implication involves life having to be there for pleasure to be felt, basically. So what was that you said?
are you more just like an Epicurean, which would be like saying death isn't bad for the one who dies? Or...
I would, obviously death is better than the sentience being tortured. Obviously, it's better than that, but it's not the best possible thing. It's just better than torture, but it's not like the thing that should happen or is that I can ever be pro. It just I can't ever attach the pro to the death part. It's just it doesn't. It's not even just an emotional thing. Even philosophically, I can't attach a pro to it because there's nothing about it that I can be pro about. It's just like, it's kind of like...
Yeah, the difference between pro-mortalism and Epicureanism is like pro-mortalism would be like saying that it's good for the individual to die, like life is an inherently bad thing, and death is like something you'd want to happen. Well, Epicureanism is saying like death is neutral. Well, dying is a bad thing. Death itself is like neutral, it's a transition to non-existence. Like,
right, yeah, basically the dying itself is the bad thing. The not existing part is obviously less bad and better than being tortured, that's for sure. But I don't see it as that much better, though. I see it as basically just a very clunky, like, oh shit, that's all we got sort of a situation. So yeah, there's just nothing about it that I can be pro, either the dying thing or death itself. Just, I've always been, even when I was very younger, I was always very averse to even the concept of myself just not existing at all. And it isn't even like a fear of not existing. It's just like, damn, that fucking sucks and that's lame as shit, basically, kind of psychology. Just, like, I would rather be forever experiencing pleasure, or hell, if I can't forever experience pleasure only, I would like to get to a state where I'm as close to that as possible. I would much fucking rather that than just not existing whatsoever. I mean, it's just...
I remember as a kid thinking, such praying to God, thanking him for creating me / like existence or whatever. Now I don't, but as a kid I remember doing that.
See, that's the thing. I'm not thankful for just existence itself. I'm thankful for pleasure specifically. That's it, in particular. I'm not thankful for the other shit at all. It's just... And it's the same thing with, like, the death thing. It's like... Hell, even if I had, like, a fully all-out, just naturalistic / atheistic perspective towards death, and what doesn't follow it, psychology... Even then, I wouldn't be pro it. I wouldn't find any attraction to it or see it as anything desirable, either the dying or death itself. Just this not existing thing. Just everything about it. It just feels wrong and off to me, man. Like in every imaginable sense. It's never been something that's attracted me. I've never even remotely felt attraction to even the concept of just not existing. It's just...
That's one thing I've noticed about you, Scott, is that you're like really in tune with like humanity, or you're like human side. Like you're really connected to like pleasure and like you like you could say like sex like feels like really good, and like orgasm feels really good. And me, I'm just like, I mean, like I do it out of habit, but like that's about it for me. Like for me, it's like not that pleasurable, I guess you could say, to like, orgasm. It's more just like something that like it feels good, but like it doesn't like feel good per se. Like I'd rather do other things. It's more like just like something I do.
I see what you mean. Well, attunement to pleasure is like definitely a big factor. That's for sure. And that's something I've noticed. I think you're onto something legit there, though. I think the reason a lot of people are pro-mortalists is because they don't necessarily experience pleasure as pleasurably as I do necessarily. So it's like, and that's why they get depressed easier or more susceptible to it than I am, and many other things like that. I think that's a huge factor. why somebody would be pro-mortalist versus not, because it's like, well, if you have like significantly positive, pleasurable experiences that like are really noteworthy to you, and that stands out to you as something of major significance, well, obviously you're going to prefer that over not existing whatsoever. And here's the thing. I'm easily able to see, even if it's a case where I'm just being driven by some implanted biological urge for it, that's all that's going on. There's no like deeper significance to it, nothing spiritual about it, nothing, metaphysical or whatever, more significance. Even if it's just a flat, mundane, okay, biology, that's all that's going on. Just an illusion of biology. I still prefer that fucking over not existing, honestly. Like, I really do. So, I just want to sort out the pain and torment aspect and get rid of that shit. Because I'm like this. My psychology is this. I would be fine being that entity, doing the eternal maintenance, preventing other sentiences from being exposed to torment. I would be happy doing that role myself versus not existing whatsoever. I would prefer to be the guy or the being doing the preventing part of other sentiences being exposed to existence, right? And the potential of torments there and stuff. So
Same. I mean, like when I say that, like the whole joke that I mentioned earlier of like, oh, when I die and I go to hell, I'm gonna like tear that bitch apart, Like, I'm joking. But at the same time, it's like, hey, I'd rather that than generic subjective continuity, It's like, I'd rather, instead of me just vanishing, everything else suffering for all eternity in different forms, like, if their pain being equal to my own, I'd rather, like, literal go over to hell and, like, suffer for, like, an indeterminate amount of time, but at least, like, end all suffering for other beings,
Right. I mean, it's like, I understand what you're saying. The thing is, as long as I can be in a state where I myself am freed from torment completely, entirely, I'm more than happy to be a sentience that prevents other forms from coming into existence, and thus preventing them from being exposed to torment and stuff like this. More than happy. So, with that being said, that's the other reason why I'm not a pro-mortalist, because it's like, well, pro-mortalism will only make sense if I was pro-mortal myself also, like pro-mortal my own mortality. If I'm just pro-mortalist pertaining to others, to me that just doesn't really line up all that well.
I mean, for me, comparing it makes sense. It's just like, to me, it's like my life has inherent value in the sense that I'm trying to go out here and like prevent suffering for others, and I feel like all other people who are in the natalist community and like a decent amount of people in the vegan community and people who are like trying to do suffering reduction ethics in general have inherent value to their lives that like should continue existing to try to like reduce as much suffering as possible. But when it comes to other individuals who don't necessarily do that, simply generate more pain than they prevent, I do think pro-mortalism would apply to them, where it's like, because like everybody pro-mortalism applies to, they don't necessarily should carry out pro-mortalism because of negative utility. But if you're generally causing more pain than you're preventing, then it's like you should do it in your own favor. If he's existing, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, definitely. I agree with you on that one. Where if there's a specific individual just that's far more of a problem than not, they should definitely cease existing and not be existing as a sentience. I agree with that part for sure. But as like an ideological stance, no, it would just be like, but I don't see that as pro-mortalism. It's just like certain individuals, pretty much everybody everywhere thinks and agrees that, well, yeah, this sentient shouldn't be existing because they're a total piece of shit. I mean, that's just basic sense, basically, not necessarily pro-mortalism.
I mean, for me, though, I think that applies to like women people than I think most people would inherently think, unless you're in the same page with me. But I think like 98%, 99% of people pro-mortalism would apply to at the moment. I think people could easily transition their lives so that like it's not that, it would be like a very, very small minority of people who would really have moralism applied to them, because we're all moral agents, so we all have the potential to be like really good in terms of negative utility. But
Yeah.
I don't think most people are actually doing that. So I think most people at the moment are like really, really negative and just essentially generating more suffering than they're preventing. But when it comes down to it, I think most people have the capability to change. So
Right. That's a good point. You know, fuck. It's like, what was I? This is one This is one like micro example, but I think it's very illustrative of a situation where the whole content creator back and forth squabble shit that's been going on that I mentioned in a recent video. And it's a trend that plays out all over the fucking place. It's not only in just this particular case, but like just the entire world of content creation and shit. There's far more situations and individuals causing issues and problems and not being reasonable than there are people being reasonable and sorting shit out with conversations and shit, you know? So, I mean, and it's just never going to end. It's like I look at it and it's like, okay, this is literally never going to end. Like this person is never going to stop saying these things about these others, and they're never going to stop saying stuff about him. This is never going to end ever. And me basically saying, well, hey, the only way to sort this out even possibly is to discuss things and be reasonable and to sort shit out. And for both parties to make a point to sort shit out. But since neither party is willing to do that at all, ever, in this situation, well, it's never going to happen. So it's like beating your head up against a brick wall, trying to make that happen. So it's like, honestly, they'd all be better off not existing in this, at least in this particular state or realm or whatever. As much as it's weird to say that, it's like, yeah, because they're just going to keep doing that. And that's a minor example. There's more extreme examples of people like, you know, being total shitheads to each other for life in like a real world context. And this is far more common than not. And it's like, I've lost track of how many situations, dude, that I've run into situations where neither party of individuals was willing to work stuff out with the other. They just dug their fucking heels in like a goddamn bad Dr. Seuss episode. And I'm just here like, hey, why the fuck aren't you willing to sort this out, like for real, to where there's no problem anymore? And dude, almost nobody's willing to be like that, like at all in this world. I've noticed that. I'm one of the rare exceptions who's willing to always discuss and sort shit out with people, minus like insanely over the top fucking situations and stuff, you know? If somebody's willing to sort shit out and be like, hey, let's fucking fix this, dude, I'll be like, cool, let's fucking fix it. But like, nobody ever does like want to do that. It's like it almost never fucking occurs. So, and especially not between other people, you know? It's rare enough with me directly in people in my life, you know? And that's one thing I like about you. It's like you're a dude willing to fucking actually discuss shit and sort shit out, for fuck's sake. Most EFILists are not those kinds of people, dude. They're just not willing. It's like, well, you do one video, one piece of content, and then it's permanent forever fucking shut down. Nope, they're never willing to talk to you again, never willing to discuss anything, never willing to ever again anything. It's like, well, fuck. What the fuck are you supposed to do in a world like that? You know?
Yeah, the way I look at it is like, there's no reason not to talk, because it's like, if you're confident in your position, then, I mean, if you're gonna either be, you're basically gonna be right no matter what. I mean, or you're gonna like, so it's like, you should always talk about it. Either the person's gonna agree with you at the end of it, or move their position closer to you, or if they don't, they're probably gonna, because like they're looking really stubborn on camera and stuff. And then, you know, you're actively showing the community in the world that, like, you know, other people are wrong. So I mean, it's a win-win either way. So yeah, I'm completely for having open dialogue with like anybody, even if like the only times where it gets to the point where I'm like, what the fuck, and I don't want to talk about it, is where it's like the people who are like, they're like really religious people who are like, babies are knocking at the doors and gates of earth, being like, we want to come in, like we genuinely chose to live in Vestal example of like a child who is born into sex slavery and is going to literally die while being beaten to death by like some stranger that they never met before. And I'm like,
yeah, the fucking stork carrying the basketball shit. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's like no. It's like anybody that thinks that type of shit, I'll entertain the conversation with them just in hopes that something will click in their brain. Because it's like, what else am I gonna do with my time? Hence, like, real value to it. But like,
oh, dude, I know exactly what you mean. Yeah, so it's like, okay, because with those people, they're impossible to talk to anyway. The psychology that they're in, you can't even converse with them. They're locked so much into that, like there's nothing to talk to them about because their brain chemistry is fucking altered, bro. Dude, I was playing Pac-Man though, right? That Mrs. Pac-Man. And Pac-Man, both the original and the Mrs. Pac, they remind me of reality. It's literally a game showing you the nature of fucking reality in your face. Like you're running around, you're a crunch machine, right? And then you fucking have to like running away from shit, and then you have to eat the ghost. So it's like no matter how long you're fucking successful, and even once you get to the very end of the fucking game, the screen fucking glitches up on you at the end. So it's like it's just like, okay, you run, crunch, and then a glitch at the end. So it's like that glitch. Right? So it's like they have a scene in there where there's the little baby that's dropped in from the stork, the little Pac-Man Jr. figure, right? And that's fucking natalist psychology, man. You get to like level 9 right there, and then it's fucking hilarious. It's so goddamn dark when I'm playing this game now because I'm aware of the symbolism as I'm playing it every time. You know, the fucking ghosts and shit, the ghosts of your past, like the fucking shit that haunts you and stuff or whatever the fuck. It just goes around and around and around, all the copes and everything. You know? And eventually it gets to a point where the ghosts don't even fucking change back, dude. You just fucking stay there. So they don't, you know, you can't even fucking eat them anymore. All you can do is evade them.
Damn. And eventually the idea is to catch up to you. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And they just devour you, man, eventually. Like the fucking Archons or some shit. Oh, God, dude.
I just lost the game, by the way. I don't know if you know what the game is, but if you do, I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah. I've seen stuff about that. I know what you're talking about.
And sorry to the one viewer who's watching, if they know what the game is.
Oh, cool. There's someone watching with us. Nice.
Yeah, just one single person. But I just made them lose the game.
Oh. It's not me that is referring to. I'm not seeing another indication on the screen.
It might be you.
Oh, okay. Here we go. Us alone in the dark, brother, having conversations about the nature of reality.
Pretty much. Hell yeah.
Well, hopefully more traction can get on your channel soon. People popping in and things like that. But, dude, my situation is, it's just been a total mindfuck. I mean, I felt great and stuff, but like mentally, like awareness wise, it's been a total fucking mindfuck, man. The last year or so, especially the last 4 months or so, man, being a content creator and stuff. And I'm just like, fuck, dude, the world of content creation and like interpersonal interactions and shit like that, it's a fucking hellscape, man. Like,
it's wild.
That's what it is. It's a hellscape. Like, I mean, you have your little handful of allies there, but dude, humans are so goddamn tribalistic. Like all the goddamn time. Like just one fucking comment, one fucking thing, and everything goes fucking haywire from that point on. You know? One response video, and everything just changes all of a sudden.
Now, I hate niches, but there's a word he uses where it's basically like a man who like manifests his own morality and like doesn't subscribe to any like tribal codes.
Yeah,
I try to do that as much as possible.
Right.
But I've kind of seen to like fall below like some levels of tribalism because like I'll get upset at spaghetti of non-EFILists for being not EFILists. Like just with that alone, I'm like, what you doing not being EFIList, huh, G? But
that sounds to me. It's like, what are you doing not being a pleasurist? Basically, that's my psychology. Oh man.
But So damn, you sadist, or you just spit.
Yep. Exactly. Man. Usually a combination of both. They're sadistic and ignorant both. That's the horror of it, man. I mean,
Pretty much.
fuck, dude. You have... And on the Misery Machine, they did a post recently. It was so fucked up, too, because they had like a huge amount of their subscribers. They did a video that said why we stopped covering content that involves, exposing children and what happened to them and stuff. It's because they had, like, the vast majority of their subscribers were, like, demanding, not the vast majority, I mean, just a large amount of them were, like, demanding in emails from them that they cover more, like, cases involving children and shit like that, like, really aggressively demanding this. And I'm like, there's all sorts of weird fucked up about that. Somebody being aggressively demanding to see more of that content. I mean, like, fuck, if they're going to cover it, they'll let them get to it when they get around to it. It's like, there's a weird fucking sadism there.
Yeah, just being like, I want to see children get tortured. Talk about that. Like that's some shit.
It's fucking weird. It's like I'd rather like the content not happen if it's not happening. Like, yeah, you know what I mean? It's all sorts of fucked up, bro. Like, so I saw that and I was just like, damn, that's really weird. But it really goes to show that all sorts of mind warp that human psychology has going on in it. And it's
that's one thing about Marquis de Sade, the inventor of sadism, is I think he's a real fucked up dude. Like, everything he advocates for is wrong. Okay. But he's right in terms of the social asports of like how things work. Because what he basically thinks is like the more taboo things are, the more vibration causes, essentially. Like the more the pleasure someone feels, the more pleasure you'll feel. And the more anguish someone feels, the more of like either anguish or pleasure you will feel. So basically, he's like, their vibration will increase your vibration. So basically, if he wants, as a sadist, he's like, obviously, pain has way more vibrational power than pleasure does. So what you want to do is, like, instead of taking anguish from other people's anguish, reverse it and take pleasure from other people's anguish. So he basically thought, like, the height of taboo was, like, the height of pleasure, essentially, is to embrace the taboo. Like, he was, like, basically... That's why sadism is called sadism, because Marquis de Sade is he basically just is like have prostitute shit in your mouth. That's the height of all pleasure. Become like a murdering psychopath, rapist.
Well, here's the thing, dude. Like the whole, like, as gross as it is and stuff. That's not a. I should have maybe clarified that before. Like, obviously, the ingesting and stuff like that, that's not something I specifically am involved in, or that aspect of it, mainly because the risk of bacteria or parasites specifically. But if that wasn't a risk, I would be doing that, yes, because the flavor I like. But the thing is, that out of all the different things that he lists, that's like the most fucking mild thing of them all that he lists. Like, that's like the one thing that doesn't actually involve somebody else being tormented. But like everything else involves somebody else actually being tormented. You notice that?
It's on my bucket list to read Justine and 120 Days of Sodom, but I think they're like nearly fucked up. Like both of them have like some horrible themes. Like no, both of them have torture and minors being like sexually abused and shit. Like he was locked into an asylum for a good fucking reason.
Holy shit, man.
Yeah, like Marquis de Sade's a real bad dude. Like, he grew up in, like, the reason his mind is so fucking broken is because he grew up during the French Revolution. Like, literally, like, he was isolated in, like, a tower, and, like, whenever he looked out his window, there were, like, people out in the streets, like, with pitchforks, like, decapitating rich people and shit like that. So, he basically grew up in, like, pure chaos, like, sexual and economic revolution. So he basically, his mind was like so warped by chaos that he basically thought that like he basically turned like his coping mechanism of like turning chaos into pleasure. and
Right.
to be turned into like a philosophy, and it is the most fucked up thing that has ever come out of like a philosophy.
It just makes me horrified every time I hear the word sadism. It has whole new layers of meaning now, of awfulness to it. And then people do this BDSM thing all casually now. It's like I can't get it out of my head now. Now that you mentioned this about this guy, like holy shit! Every time I see the BDSM, that's like BDSM gone bad, man. The sadism, like shit, dude. That's awful. They really should use a different acronym for that part of it if it's based on that motherfucker. I mean, really. What's that? They really should.
They really should.
That's like just a bad acronym for that.
Because I used to be like, yeah, man, I'm a sadist. But I'm like, you know what? Like, I'm a sadist minus the action part, you know, because like I don't want to be associated with my facade.
Yeah, that'd be insane, man. Like, thankfully, I've never been a sadist at all, so that's good. But you know, for obvious reasons, because it's the opposite of actual pleasure. So my thing is like, well, if the other form isn't being obviously, clearly, benevolently pleasured, then it's not, to me, it isn't actual pleasure at all. So it's like, it's just horror. I only find pleasure if I know and I'm aware the other form is being pleasured. In fact, like when I'm having intercourse with women and stuff, I can't even stay erect if I have any inclination that the female is like in pain or not feeling pleasure or just, you know, harmed in some way, even on accident. I can't fucking stay aroused because I'm that attuned to other people's pleasure. Like, it's like they have to be pleasured. Like, I can't function if the other person is being pained in some way. It does all sorts of fucked upness to my head, man. Like,
for me, it's like the opposite. Like, pleasure kind of gets me off, I guess, when the other person's feeling good. But for me, I'm very much in tune with like natural sadism. That's the more horror and suffering a person is going through, while also potentially experiencing some level of pleasure on my end. Like basically is what it's like essentially the pain of other people. But you know, that's just me. Like, I'm not gonna talk about one of my fantasies because it would probably disturb you beyond belief. But if you can imagine it being really, really like bad, like some American Psycho shit with like chainsaws, you know, like stuff like that, you know. Yeah, it's bad. But
well, at least you're honest about it, and at least you recognize it's bad, so that's helpful.
Yeah, I recognize that it's not, you know, utility. It's essentially just going on beyond death and into like worshiping pain. So yeah,
worshiping what?
Worshiping pain. That psychology is like a natural worship of pain. Like, you know, I realize pain is intellectually, but like, you know, in a natural like sense, like I'm drawn like as a sadist to like, you know, taking pleasure from other people's misery, essentially.
Holy shit. Dude, we're gonna be sitting here like 10 years later. It's gonna be a movie, or like 20 years later, about all the deeds you performed after this, and then we flash back to this video chat. I'm sitting there interviewed, like, yeah, that's he's telling me about all this stuff, blah blah blah, whatever. Oh man, damn, dude.
The record, I would never, you know, hurt anybody, or, you know, intentionally. But yeah. In terms of like my brain, it's a real fucked up place up here. But.
Mm-hmm. Well, see, I think, yeah, I mean, it's usefully, functionally helpful to be able to recognize all that stuff, you know, in yourself, and just call it out for what it is and acknowledge it for what it is, for fuck's sake, if it's there, obviously. But I mean, the thing is, like, in my brain, I can envision scenarios that would be horrible possibilities. That like flash in my brain as things that could happen that I could be engaged in or whatever, but I don't find any like joy or pleasure in the thought of those things. It's like, no, I specifically, positively don't want any pain or agony inflicted on other sentients under any circumstances, period. So it's like, you know, the thing for me is just pleasure all the way, man. I don't like have any room for other stuff. I mean, obviously, I'm all for like combat warfare training and stuff for like functionally useful combat skill stuff, but not in the sense of like, well, let's, once we capture them, let's prolong their suffering or torture them or whatever. No, it's just like one and done, get the job done, fight who you need to fight, take out who you need to take out, and then move on, kind of a thing, versus prolonging anything beyond necessity. That's why I'm all for like the most efficient methods of taking opponents out is what my emphasis is in the study of warfare and things like that.
Yeah, I think I originally was like that, and then it just like transitioned slowly into like a more like cold sadism as like into like hate humanity and like the nature of beings more and more. But
I mean, there's definitely a lot to be furious at when it comes to humans, their behavior and their insanity and shit. It's fucking crazy, bro. I mean, but it's like. It's like a situation where it's like you're damned if you do, damned if you don't, damned if you don't do either. I've run into that so many fucking times in life, and I'm seeing it play out again as a content creator. It's like, okay, if I say something, a certain chunk of people are going to be pissed off at me. If I don't say anything, another chunk of people are going to be pissed off at me. And if I say the other thing, then I got the other chunk of people pissed off at me. So it's like, you're basically just fucked either way, no matter what you do. No, I know you're always going to have somebody pissed off at you. What's that?
No, I said, no, what you're talking about, because you have, like, very wide branch of audience. Like, you have, like, antinatalist fold, you have, like, various religious folds of, like, your past religion, and also, like, Gnosticism, and, like, new pleasurist religion that's kind of, like, appearing.
Yeah.
And you also have just general like antinatalism and suffering focused ethics stuff going on, and conspiracy also. And for me, like you have like all these stuff going on here, and for me, I'm like, oh yeah, I love antinatalism and like I love theology, but then when I hear like conspiracy stuff, I'm like,
there you go, direct example. See?
So yeah, it's just like I completely understand what you're talking about. You're just like humoring the conspiracy crowd a little bit, being like, "Hey, what do you guys think?" And I'm just like, "How dare you platform them?
How dare you platform them?" That's funny. That's hilarious, man. Yeah, it's just my focus because I'm genuinely interested in all these things, all at once. So I think it's. It's just a very funny situation. That's the thing. I like a lot of different channels and stuff, but I just don't really jive with if there's like a content creator or a channel it's like only one specific thing they cover over and over and over again. I just don't jive with it. Like within Mendham's channel, basically it's everything. Every piece of content is always EFILism, antinatalism over and over and over and over. It's like a repeat of the same exact topic a gazillion times over. And then you have a bunch of other channels. It's very similar to that. It's like a gazillion times they repeat the same stuff, basically, the same tropes. And it's like periodically I'll tune in and watch that stuff here and there, but I don't see what the attraction is to staying constantly watching one after another of that type of content. It's just I like stuff that deals with more nuanced stuff, so conspiracy stuff I find interesting, Gnostic nature of reality stuff, demonic entity stuff, etc. Like, creepiness of technology coming in, AI shit,
Have you
all
ever
that stuff.
Channel, John Levy?
John Levy?
Yeah.
Who is that?
Let's see. I'll see if I can.
Is it John Levi or John Levy?
Levi, I think. John.
Yeah, I always pronounced it Levi. Yeah, that sounds familiar. I've heard other content creators mentioning that channel.
Yeah, he does a lot of stuff on like Great Reset Theory and like the Mud Floods, like ancient technologies and stuff like that.
Yeah. The Mud Flood stuff. Yeah.
But it's batshit crazy in my opinion.
Well, the Mud Flood shit, I noticed it's this weird like ASMR, like you were saying, it's like this weird ASMR effect that it has. Just like watching content where they're talking about like all these ruins and the mud and the hypotheses. there's some sort of like ASMR effect to it that I noticed with that kind of content. But I just sit there like fucking laughing and chuckling about it. I really find the mud flood just so much more humorous than anything else. I find it a really fun topic to just like debunk and like expose for the bullshit that it is.
Reed McLeod talking about the mud flood in one of his videos, and I'm like, yo, bro, please. I know you're schizophrenic, but like, you have to explain this to me. And he's like, I'll do it in the video. It's been like a month or two, and he hasn't yet. And I'm like, please, bro, just explain to me how this mud flood works, because it's so bullshit, and I really want to hear schizophrenic explain to me how it works. That would be fucking hilarious. I mean, I love his ApostleO'Ultron content, but I really want to hear him ramble about fucking mud floods and giants and shit.
I know, it's like the whole. What's funny about the mud flood thing, dude? It's so fucking. I recorded a whole video on this. Actually, I haven't posted it up yet. It's so obviously a dodge from the having to answer for the flat circular Earth thing, man. In the vast majority of cases, that's what it is. You know, there might be a handful of people out there who are globe Earth adherents who also believe the mud flood thing, but it seems like there's a very strong connection between people dodging having to answer for the flat circular Earth stuff and mud flood. You know, so it's like
flat earther.
What's that?
Is Rita McLeod a flat earther? I mean,
I don't know. I don't know. But I've noticed there's usually a connection. In most cases, there's people that seem to be dodging the flat Earth topic, or dodging having to answer for flat circular Earth views or whatever. But the thing is, it's like it would just be a logistical fucking nightmare to cover up all those like historical past pieces of technology and knowledge and awareness and everything. It would be insane, man. And it's like, where the fuck are all the portrait drawings? The detailed ass fucking good quality art everywhere from this previous advanced civilization. And the supposedly, is there. Where are the more significant amounts of these previous technologies scattered around all over the fucking place? I mean, like, the time frames a lot of these people are suggesting are really fucking weird too. It's just like,
so you don't understand. They're all hidden in the open. Ooh, all the ancient buildings, all designed all nice and stuff. Why were they designed nice? It's not because of aesthetic. It's because they're harvesting electricity from the air.
Damn it. It's like, fuck, man. It's like you just go out and see all these things. Oh, there it is. All these buildings. Oh, yeah, that's been around for a fucking 500 years, even though they told you it was only around for 200 years or whatever the fuck. It's like, wait a minute. This sounds very familiar to my Hare Krishna days of like the Krishna cult stuff where they were saying these buildings literally date back millions of fucking years. And I'm like, hold on a minute. Millions of fucking years? It's like that temple would have fucking been totally eroded like it 20 times over if it dated back that fucking far. Like, I mean, this ground would be so fucking high around this building by now. It would be like the whole goddamn thing would be underground, for fuck's sake. If it was like, millions of years old, they'd have to fucking keep digging around it. Like, if that was the case, it's just, it doesn't add up. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. It's like the mud flood shit. It's like, especially the stuff they're saying, all these things that date back to like there was like this great reset between like 1600 1800. I mean, that's so fucking recent, man. Like, it's ridiculous how recent a lot of these hypotheses are. It's like, that's way too fucking recent.
I'm sitting there in like my early American class about like poverty and stuff, and you're like talking about poverty in like the 1600s and stuff like that, and I'm just like,
Oh god.
Literally, I'm reading a book from the 1600s. I'm like, where's the mud flood?
Yeah, it's like, where's the mud flood? Where's all this highly advanced shit being talked about? Oh yes, we're putting an antenna on top of this building. It's like, fuck, if they were fucking doing that shit, they would have put that in fucking books. They would have been like, we're harvesting, and it would have been easy to translate it. Be like, okay, they're talking about electricity and harvesting it via this and that means, and building batteries and shit. Like, there would be like written records of that shit, like still around that you could read and be like, oh, cool. Because that would be stuff that they would want preserved as information and knowledge. They wouldn't want it to just fucking disappear. Oh, let's just strictly pass it on by word of mouth and never write any of it down ever, and then just like let it disappear the second we fucking die.
I was literally reading a book on poverty in the 1600s. If we're harvesting electricity from the air, poverty is a thing of the fucking past.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, it doesn't add up, man. They're all the history books were faked. Every last one of them. There's, all these guys just scoured these fucking libraries and just rewrote everything and left out all the technology books on purpose. It's like, why? If we're just gonna have to fucking redevelop the shit anyway, and we're going to somehow clunkily figure it out over like 200, 300 years anyway, eventually again, why would you hide that shit? So it's like, okay, so all these motherfuckers that hide this technology or whatever the fuck, so they're hindering their own access to like more modern dental care, more modern, medical care, more modern like psi wave fucking electrical healing wave care, just because they want to keep it hidden. For why? Hidden so they can't use it on their own bodies? Like, what the fuck?
See, they kept all their hover car information in the Library of Alexandria, bro. Real shame that got burnt down. Now we'll never know.
Like, they were all in the one library. They couldn't have just scattered them around in different libraries. Yeah, okay, that was really dumber than a box of rocks. Oh, let's put every aspect of information about this in one fucking library, and then let's just conveniently have let's have this one library burned down.
It's all of our flammable books in a flammable library.
People weren't that fucking stupid even that far back, man. They would have been like, no, we're gonna scatter this information and copy it and like get it in other places. Because if it burns down, well, we don't have it anymore, you dumbasses. So it's like,
they were both really smart and really stupid back then. Like, I've read some medieval stuff, and like, it's surprising that they have like shit you wouldn't expect back in ancient Greece. Like, they had firemen, and the firemen literally had like an understanding knowledge of hydraulics, so they had like water pumps for like putting out fires back in ancient Greece, which is pretty cool.
Right.
But at the same time, you also had letters getting passed forth between the fucking kings and the servants, being like, keep an eye on those firemen. They're organizing, and any organized group can rebel against us. So, back in the day, like, shit was wild. They had like letters going back and forth, just like, hey, king, just so you know, that village you have control of, they're building amphitheater there. And they're like, and then the letter comes back and they're like, that's great. We love music and art. And then another letter comes back and they're like, the problem is they're building it on marshland and the thing is sinking into the ground. Another letter comes back from the king. It's just like, why the fuck are they building it on marshland? Letter comes back and you're like, they didn't have to survey the ground beforehand. Why did they start building a multiple-year project without surveying the land beforehand? They're like, you didn't give them the budget to. They're like, yeah, man, medieval letters are fucking hilarious and just as the same as modern bullshit.
So it's like, there was so much bumbling bullshit that went on historically that was like, so the point basically being is that, okay, so the hypothesis is something else. If we're going to eventually guarantee for sure find it out anyway after years of time of clunky, gradual developments, why waste hundreds of years when you could have just preserved it and just let people know about the fucking antenna tops of these, like, why like do that? It doesn't make logistical sense. And that's the whole argument that they don't acknowledge. It's like, oh, the British, it's the British's fault. That the British are at fault for fucking everything in India. All right, that's the whole spiel. It's like the British this, the British that. When the British actually improved a lot of shit in India, comparatively speaking, they did some bad shit also, but they improved a lot of stuff as well in other areas. So it's like, okay, you have the situation where we obviously have physical evidence that carbon dating, like ways we can verify how old these buildings are, right? They're dating back to like the Middle Ages, ancient times, and stuff like that. And they line up with exactly what the historical record shows. Okay, the Greeks came into India, the Gandhara civilization, they had sculpture, boom, there it is. That's their detailed sculptures in the Gandhara region, etc., and onwards, the Bactrian civilization and stuff. Now you have more detailed sculptures throughout India, post-Greek contact. There it is. And it lines up perfectly with the standard, quote unquote mainstream boogeyman narrative. So, that being the case, we know buildings aren't that fucking old, like the millions and gazillions. It's like, okay, if you had a civilization that was so fucking goddamn advanced, they were flying around in space and ships and all this other type of stuff, like that shit you would fucking go out of your way to fucking preserve knowledge and information about, and physical copies of, for fuck's sake, physical copies of the ships themselves. Like you would make sure to keep replicated physical ships sitting around that, like, okay, if this ship fucking blows up or stops working or whatever, we've got these backup ships everywhere, thing.
Like, if these people are so smart, why don't they have like shit that hidden away? Like, we literally have like entire bunkers with fucking seeds in them. Seeds.
Yeah.
Like, they're just like growing plants. It's like we have an entire bunker dedicated just to like plants that we can grow in history. And it's like, okay, where the fuck are all these ancient like fucking temples and bunkers full of like siphoning air from electricity from air devices and fucking laser guns and mud flood causing nukes and shit.
Mud flood causing nukes and shit. I love it, man. Mudslide causing ray weapons, it's like, so yeah, there's just too much logistical shit that's not accounted for it to be believable or realistic, and it's like, that's what pisses me off about the whole conspiracy land shit. It's like everything mainstream is always a goddamn boogeyman. I fucking hate that shit so bad. It's like, mainstream automatically equals evil boogeyman instantly.
You know what's really sad? There is way too much schizophrenia, unfortunately, in the antinatalist, EFIList, sentientism, suffering reduction, EFIList fold. Like, I literally just got a message from a dude from this Facebook sentientism group chat, and he's just like, "Hey, bro, like, I wish I could have hopped on your stream to talk to you because, like, I want to mention about, like, he wanted to talk about, like, transgenderism and, like people, like, changing people's, like, genders and, like, causing people to become depressed because of, like, government mind rays. Like,
oh, yeah.
He's like, no, man, life isn't actually as bad as you think, bro. We have to care about each other and all that, but like the whole reason you're depressed is because you're gonna like government mind raid. So he wants to have some conversation with me, and he's like, we should talk asynchronously first or something like that. He basically wants to like, he's basically schizophrenic as shit and wants to like talk to me like the most incognito way possible. And he's like really spot me.
That's hilarious, man. It just fucking permeates all of it, bro. Both the EFIList, antinatalist, and conspiracy folds of stuff, all of it. It's fucking everywhere, man. This paranoid schizophrenia bullshit. It's just a fucking nightmare to have to deal with, And I'm just like, fuck, man. This whole, like... And because here's the thing. Here's what I've noticed about paranoid schizophrenics. This is what people don't seem to understand. If in fact, that diagnosis was... or if there's something going on psychologically that fits the on-paper diagnosis of paranoid schizophrenia with the one content creator in question... Well, there's literally only one way to interact with somebody who has that condition. I've seen it before. I've experienced it before. And shouting at them and swearing at them doesn't do anything. It literally just adds to their fucking conspiracy narrative, like more. You may as well fucking toss a gigantic fucking log onto an already blazing fucking fire, and like burn your house down with it while you're at it, to be honest with you. I mean, the only way to interact with paranoid schizophrenics or people diagnosed thereof is to be firm and reasonable, but in a way that you don't add fuel to their fucking conspiracy fire. You know, that's basically it. Like, just don't add fuel to it. And that's the whole idea. Because
It's so difficult, bro.
yeah,
Like there was a dude who was in Anthony Ailes group chat was clearly schizo as fuck. He was talking about like how Sandy Hook is like all fake and all that. Yeah, it's cringe. But like I was just like literally giving him evidence of how like it's impossible for that to be like fake on like a national level, like all these like things, and he was just like, "You from the FBI, bro? Are you a Fed?" And I'm like, I wish I was getting paid the amount the federal agents were.
yeah. Honestly, man, like for fuck's sake, you know. But that's it. That's how it goes. It's always some variation of that, you know. It's always some fucking variation of that thing. So when I first ran into that with that one content creator, only reason I'm not saying the name is because of obvious reasons. Just in case somebody pops in and watches this later. Prefer to not have that the emphasis of this talk, but basically what I was getting at is that it's like, okay, here's a bunch of fucking like false narrative bullshit being thrown at me, just false accusations. So I talked to a bunch of other people. Okay, so here's the pattern. This person has done this with all these other people. This pattern has been going on. So okay, that's the pattern. All these people who have responded in some aggressive way or called him a name, or okay, the result is that he does this with them. All right, so it would be a dumbass idiotic thing for me to respond that way because it's going to happen to me also and just fuck with my channel and everything else I'm doing unnecessarily and pointlessly. And it's going to be this continual back and forth circle jerk of name calling and shit. So let's not do that. And let's actually find out from this other person's perspective, who's everybody's saying is a paranoid schizophrenic and stuff, and who supposedly said they had that diagnosis before. Let's find out from that individual what the motive is and what the basis of what they're saying is, and try to just fucking hear them out from their perspective. Okay, cool. Did that, sorted that out, figured that aspect out, and you know, okay, the pattern keeps going with all these other different individuals, but it isn't going on with me. So at least I'm freed from that fucking pattern continuing and repeating on in my own life, you know. And everybody's here is pissed off. Oh, why the fuck don't you be more aggressive or do this? Well, it's like it doesn't solve jack shit. Like I could do a raging, angry, fucking aggressive video, shouting and swearing and shit, and being like, this person's a piece of shit and this and that. What the fuck? Okay, great. Now I'm on the list of fucking everybody else, and it just keeps going on and on and on, and then the next person, then the next person. So it's like, you people, you're being fucking stupid if you think that's going to solve anything. Like, you have to fucking go about this differently. Like, this is not the way to fix this shit. There's a different way to do this. And that's what people don't seem to get through their heads. It's like they're unwilling to change trajectories or change strategies in interpersonal relations. And it's like, you have to with the paranoid schizophrenic. You have to. There's no other option, because they do not respond the way that neurotypicals or non-paranoid schizophrenic people respond. They don't. So you have to interact with them differently. That's all there is to it, you know? So it's like basically everybody's just choosing, okay, well, no, we're just going to keep bashing ourselves against the brick wall and then hoping something changes. Well, has that worked with any of these cases yet? The, 10, 20, 30, however many number of people are being said that something happened to them or whatever. It's like, okay, this is obviously how this person is, period. This is the behavioral pattern. This is obviously a mental condition thing going on, / personality quirk flaw thing going on. It's the pattern that's never disappearing. So, okay. It's just, that's the part that always annoys me about a lot of other people, is they can't fucking see what's obviously needing to be adjusted. And even when they see it, they're not willing to actually fucking do that. It's like, okay, here's this mechanical fucking problem. We know what the problem is. We know how to fix it, but you're choosing to just fucking say, oh no, there's no problem. Let's just keep going and let's do something else. It's like, okay, I know the engine's fucking having a problem. The engine's fucking out of oil. That's why it's making this noise. No. It's the transmission. It's not the engine. It's like I know it's the fucking engine. I know it's not the transmission. It's like, no. And then sure enough, the whole thing fucking breaks down and they go into a rage and shit like that. It's like, well, you didn't fucking give it more engine oil, man. Like, what the hell, you know? But it's basically the same thing with philosophy too, worldviews and concepts and stuff. Same exact dynamic, you know. So many bullshitty ideas that people just fucking keep going on and on about that people can see obvious solutions to it, like the whole fucking mysterious ways bullshit. It's like, dude, there's nothing fucking mysterious at all about any of it in terms of why the horrors and shit are happening. It's not fucking mysterious, you know. Do a whole video just being like, repeat after me. It is not mysterious, doing a little fucking like jingle or song or some shit like that. It's very fucking obvious, blah, blah, you know, some little kids jingle or some shit. But,
like even religious morality is like complete bullshit. Like divine command theory. So like completely experience generates reality. Like even if there is a God, divine command theory is bullshit. But it's still like being like talked about even to this day.
Yeah, divine command theory, basically, if God commands it, that makes it good, basically, in essence.
Yep.
Because he says it.
Basically,
right.
It's so bullshit.
It's good because he says it. So in other words, okay, power worship. You're worshiping power. Boom.
Basically, it's essentially like, you know, some person's being raped, completely horrible in every way possible. Like, imagine like a person being raped, and even the person doing the raping doesn't want to even rape the person, but they're being forced to rape them. So like, literally everybody hates, like, and everybody involved hates the situation, and they would just be like,
oh, because God wills it. God wills it. That whole bullshit spiel.
Basically, like if God's like, you know what? If God says that's money, just shrug the shoulders. You know, God says it's cool. God, it's cool.
That's such a hellish ideology. That's what's generated all these fucking psycho murderers and shit out of the religious fold, though. It's divine command theory. That's it. Because any nut job can just be like, God wills it, God commands it, and nobody can say, well, it's not God, because, well, to them it's God. So, like, you know, like, what the fuck? So now they're just going to do whatever they're going to do, and they can just say that God commanded them to do it, or feel like God commanded them to do it. So it's like, oh, okay, great, okay, yeah, terrible, fucking horrible.
If you believe divine command theory, and you believe that that means God's automatically good, that means you believe that all creations of God are good. Which means whatever I'm thinking in your mind is God's will or whatever. So yeah, that's pretty much exactly what you said. Yeah, that's how like psycho murderers are born, and like suicide bombers and shit like that. Like they're just like, well, God wants me this. That's why like how like fucking like pedophile priests are like born. Like, well, God was allowing me to do this because, you know, I'm a good preacher or whatever the fuck. Like they allow themselves to do such horrible things, and like because like they're like, well, surely God is willing this or allowing this or cool with this in some way. Otherwise,
the whole thing's a fucking mind fuck, man. It's an intentional bullshit mind fuck that's designed to ensure that they can keep fucking with innocent people, literally. So
pretty much.
You know, and it's the most innocent that they destroy and fuck with too. That's what people don't understand. That's the one thing I appreciate about a lot of Jordan Maxwell's content was he emphasized that the entire Catholic Church for the entire history has always been about abuse. He says people are just so goddamn dumb they don't understand. The entire fucking ideology was always an innocent abuse ideology. That's what it was. That's what the religion is. And he's like, people are going here, you know, they're going to church and cheering and rolling on the floor and all this praise and crying and all this stuff. And then they're not realizing that like the entire fucking thing, which the priests are aware of, the people in the know are aware of, what it actually is. It's literally just a gigantic fucking pedophile ring. And that's always what it's been, like for the thousands of fucking years. And they all know that's what it's been. And so when you have the congregation, the people who think it's something else that it's never been, and they just keep going on with it. And this is basically the same thing with all these different cult institutions and everything else. The inner sanctum of psychos always know what's actually going on. And then the congregation and then the cannon fodder think it's something else the whole time. You know, so it's two different things going on where the inner sanctum is not practicing what the cannon fodder are practicing. And just the amount of fucking vileness that they fuel with that nightmarish thing, man. Fucking demiurge, femiurge, whatever the fuck, he, she, it, the fucking.
This is actually a good transition to another topic, because I know you believe, like the elites have like some like knowledge of like what's going on in terms of like the demiurge/femiurge, and so they purposely engage in malicious, selfish actions to essentially gain power by like feeding them.
Correct.
There's
a lot of evidence for that, actually. What's really that's really what bypasses a lot of the bullshit conspiracy variations of it, which try to have the demiurge, or basically the false fake god is the thing that's being resisted, or the thing that they're worshiping, and then the real god is the one they're rebelling against. But all the evidence seems to show us the exact opposite, and it actually answers way more questions than not. But what were you saying? You were saying, is it something?
Bohemian Grove, like, is that like related to that, or?
Yeah, what's interesting is that owl symbol that's connected with Kali, the persona that was talked about within the Vedic Sanskrit texts, who is the personality of
Kali to me before. Yeah. They said that was like the thing that I saw on DPT, the chrome owl that I've hallucinated. They said that being from the Bohemian. I was like, oh, guys, like, it's funny how like the Bohemian Grove elitists worship some owl being when, and I was tripping on GPT, I saw like some chrome owl, like, only entity I've ever seen was like an owl.
Yeah, and that's interesting, because the owl symbol is associated with Kali, the entity behind quarrel and hypocrisy of this age. It's also associated with the entity Moloch, obviously, that child sacrifices were offered to literally, historically, in the past. And if the Moloch hypothesis is correct, well, then Moloch would be the actual source entity in that case, which would mean that if at the Bohemian Grove what they're doing is a mock child sacrifice ritual, which seems to be that's what the indication is, and when they're saying be gone dull care, be gone empathy, be gone compassion, be gone human type of traits that keep us bound to a consciousness of morality, affection, compassion, etc., be gone so that we can ourselves attain divinity, which is demonhood, and therefore basically transcend our human state and attain apotheosis, to attain demonhood, to basically serve as the servants of the Moloch being, the root malevolent entity. But like it actually adds a whole new element of darkness to the whole thing, and in fact it actually brings it a lot more out of conspiracy land, if you understand.
Is Moloch like an owl, or?
Moloch was symbolized via the owl a lot, from what I recall, and the bull also, both.
Because if that was Moloch, then it was quite interesting, like, being. I mean, I don't know if you were there when I described that or not.
I don't know if I was there if you described it. Go over it briefly.
Again, it was on DPT, which is like the strongest psychedelic in the planet, basically. I ego death for an hour and 45 minutes. Have you ever heard of DMT, which people claim is like one of the strongest ones? It lasts like 5 to 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Well, I ego death for an hour and 45 minutes.
Holy shit.
So yeah. So I was basically blacked out on the floor, like in an ego death state for like an hour and 45 minutes. I was snapped out of it twice. And yeah, I can talk about the whole experience if you want. Right when I snorted it, I was like with a bunch of friends in my room, in my apartment, and I was just like I'm all good, And it immediately went from good to not good. And I was looking at my tapestry, and just everything started melting and blending together, and I was like, oh no, I am not good. I am not good. This is going on way too fast. And then I went to the trash can and went to throw up. And as I was throwing up, these black tentacles started like coming in from like the corners of my vision as I was like kind of like just like I was tearing up, so my eyes were kind of like squinting and closing, and as they were getting like closing, like the corners of your eyes kind of get darker. And as I was doing that, like these black tentacles were like enclosing my vision, and I literally just slumped over and passed out. And from that point on, everything is really hazy, and I don't remember a ton. But at some point, I was like on the ground, like overheating, like because like my heart rate was like crazy high. Like you can actually overdose on DPT. I don't think I was close, but my heart rate was probably like around like 160, which is like crazy high.
Holy shit.
So I was like basically on the ground, like sweating profusely, and I was just like someone please, like give me an ice pack. So my friends had me an ice pack and like put that on my chest. I felt like I was really dying in that moment.
Holy
and
shit.
as I felt like I was like overheating there, like I was like just like squinting into the light, and everything is like going crazy and like massively hallucinating. And I had like a weird sensation of like being like in a like in a hospital. Because like the light was like blaring at me because it was like so bright because I'm like high as shit. And like just all these people like rushing, like my friends rushing around me, basically like trying to make sure I'm okay. And my friends are great, by the way.
Cool.
So I'm basically just tripping shit here. I feel like I'm dying, and I imagine I'm in the hospital. And for some reason, I get the sensation that like a massive release of comfort once the ice pack hits on like my head. And I felt like I was like being reborn, and I closed my eyes, and I like had this hallucination that I was like inside like a womb, like being reborn into like the world. Like slightly after that, all I remember is like going back into ego death mode, and just at some point I arrived in the white room, and that's when I met the owl being, which is just like I don't. It felt like this infinite void of white, but it could have been like a room like that, like the walls just weren't discernible. But at some point, I felt like a presence in the room, and the instant I felt the presence, it's like my perspective just shifted and like locked onto it. And it was like this giant chrome owl, like its body was like made of like this shiny metal, and they had like gems for eyes, like emeralds, like green emeralds. And it basically just stared at me. It didn't seem like malevolent, and it didn't necessarily seem benevolent, and it didn't seem like it was really like too interested in me. It was just like casually observing me, just like wondering like why I was even in its domain, or like what I was about, I guess. Just kind of like observing me for like an indiscernible amount of time. And at some point, I remember like the scene transitioning to like this infinite black, just like pure pitch black. And that's when I felt this absolute rush of like primal fear, like the most like pure dread like I've ever felt in my entire life. And I literally shot up and like like that, and like I felt like I was like pretty much like on the verge of death. My friends are just like, "Holy shit, are you okay?" And I'm like, "Yes, I think so." And then it basically just go death again for like another like 40 minutes, and I don't remember much of that at all. But yeah,
dude, that's insane, man.
yeah, I don't know what the fuck was that primal fear feeling. I get it almost every time I do DPT in a high dose, but yeah, like DPT is like one of the scariest drugs on the planet. If you ever want to like have like a fun night and just hear some weird stories, look up DPT trip stories. You'll have you'll hear some funny, crazy shit. Like that was my last like crazy high dose that I did, which was like almost 2 years ago at this point. But I've had like some fun adventures on DPT in the past where it was like going with some of my friends, like to like their apartments and stuff, and like deciding to like go for the woods and shit like that, like public forest at night while I'm like DPT, just seeing Slendermans just like looking out from behind the trees, watching me, and I'm just like, hell yeah, the demons.
Little fingers. That's funny, dude. Well, you know, that's the thing, man. Like, who knows? You might have seen some variation of or some aspect of Moloch or something, man. It's like, but that ritual that they do, you know, it's about that. It's about the begone del care, begone empathy, begone like affection, all these things. So they obviously know full damn well what they're doing, and you know, if all. So whenever I see God now, like it's just, it's quite a mind fuck, man. Everywhere I see God uppercase G now, I can't unsee this anymore. Like I'm like, oh shit, the supreme fucking demon lord. There it is. There he or she or it is. There it is. Boom. God. That thing. You know. I just everywhere I see that, I just you know, on the dollar bill, the whole God and God, one nation under the demon lord. So it's just like, well, shit. I mean, you know, like if this removes a lot of the conspiracy narrative, because fuck, if the actual God is this omni-malevolent fucking thing that demands child sacrifices and all this other horrible crap in order to fuel and power those who are, you know,
I mean,
fueling it.
we are a war profiteering nation, so it would make sense no way.
I know, it's fucking weird, bro. It's like, it seems like the only ones who would actually know that that's the case would be the high, really high up and ups who might have some divine command theory fucked up thing going on, but like, you know, who knows what degree they actually articulate what they're fucking doing, but they're obviously aware of a pattern. So there's obviously a pattern they're noticing of, okay, we do these rituals, we do this shit, and then equals us having insane degrees of fucking power in the world and crap. So obviously there's something that they're getting from that, you know, that's happening, and obviously that's why it's been going on for hundreds of years. You have a fucking Freemasonic temple every goddamn city that exists everywhere, pretty much. You know, they're everywhere. Like every city you go, there's the Freemasonic temple. There it is. There it is. There it is.
See, if any supernatural shit ever gets proven, I'll buy into this shit right away. Like no joke. Like I'm gonna be like I knew Epstein didn't kill himself. He was part of the fucking cult.
Right, exactly. You know, but yeah, man, whatever the actual specifics are that are going on, I think at least a small handful know exactly what they're fucking doing. I think they know exactly full well that the thing's fucking omni-malevolent or evil, or they just believe that power itself is good, and by them doing that, that's evil. So I mean, even think about it. Even the fucking mainstream churches and shit that believe that being they're worshiping is good, that's insanely fucking demonic itself, if you think about it, because like they're just redefining good, which itself is a demonic act that's really fucked up, you know. And they're praising and glorifying power itself, domination over other things, as what they're worshiping and praising. So that's fucking demon worship. You know, it's an insane thing that people, it's amazing they don't realize that's what they're doing. It's incredible. You know, it's absolutely incredible. So whether it's true or not, whether this thing actually exists or not, well, we know that reality itself is at least close to entirely malevolent. So, you know, the only question is whether the thing is sentient or not, aware of what it's fucking doing. And the Moloch hypothesis indicates that it's this entity that specifically relishes potentiality, arbitrariness, and chaos in and of themselves. And so basically the manifestation of every possible world, situation, scenario, etc., is what it's about. Just experiencing and watching and observing every possibility play out imaginable in this universe and in other universes. And that's what it's about. It's just a potentiality manifesting thing. And, you know, in essence, basically, it's an entity that just relishes chaos for the sake of it. Chaos for the sake of chaos, you know, randomness for the sake of it, arbitrariness for the sake of it, you know. And therefore, it's an entity that doesn't have empathy, that doesn't have human anything that we would class as empathy or care or whatever. It's just, you know, forever amused by the variations of things that manifest, So, very creepy hypothesis if you think about it.
Yeah, I mean, it is a really creepy hypothesis. I'm a pro-mortalist, though, so I feel like it can't be true. Just because I feel like anything that, like, supremely intelligent and aware, like, wouldn't want to exist. But, so that's why I feel like it's more like has to be some, like, unconscious entity.
Mm-hmm. Which is even really its own type of horror, even if it's an unconscious thing, too. Because it's like, well, shit. That's also really fucked up. But either way, whatever the case actually is, it's just absolutely horrifying, And with the Moloch thing, it's, it could be a situation where it's fucking experiencing itself through all these different variations of experience or whatever, instead of, including the experience of quote unquote not existing, right? Along with the experience of existing as well, or the rather lack of experience of existence as one of the things that goes on. So yeah, it's just insane, man.
Even the best realities are probably the most horrible things. Like if we talk about like Mainlander and how like that's pretty much the best scenario. My idea is like the god that committed like a divine form of suicide to like try to like break up the multiversal singularity into just one world that's suffering instead of infinite worlds. And even then, that's like fucking tragic as shit because it's like, especially if that's repeating, it's just like, damn. God literally forced to commit suicide over and over just to prevent the suffering of the multiverse. That's tragic as shit.
It's hardcore, man. Yeah, it's whatever the case, it's a nightmare hellscape, and that's the thing. The darkest part of it is the fact that there's no certainty as to what actually the fuck goes on or takes place beyond this state, really. Whether it's death or continued life or whatever, even if it is the death state, obviously we both know that sentience eventually will reemerge again, no matter what, regardless. So it's like, well, yeah, I mean, really, that's why my thing is, well, okay, I have a formula that works for me now and is what I'm going to keep doing. And that formula is, okay, I'm going to maintain a paradise state. I'm going to go for that all in as much as I possibly can. And I'm going to purposefully separate myself from source as much as possible. And so far, so good. Psychologically and otherwise, things are working out quite well. Physiologically, situationally, So things are working out much better than the times when I ever had any concept of trying to connect to source or whatever, or the source of everything or whatever, This is much more based and grounded and level-headed. Much more functionally useful, too, because my questions are instantly answered before I need to even ask them. I already know why stuff's happening before I even have to ask the question. So
I wish I naturally had more, I guess, distance from source, I guess, what you would say, like sadism. But, it is what it is, I guess.
Yeah, there's something about it, man. It's very strange. And it's like, because here's the thing. I look at all those cult situations, all the groups and everything that emphasize God worship so strongly, right? God and there's power, right? Every one of them, they always had some really dark ass cult, hypocritical shit going on. I'm like, well, no wonder. The entity they're worshiping is fucking the darkest, most hypocritical, most vile thing imaginable in every one of these narratives, no matter what the narrative is. So obviously, the followers are going to have the same qualities of that thing or concept they're worshiping. So it's like, it's not a surprise at all. People are always like, well, so I don't understand why this person is so dark or has these dark traits to them, even though they're worshiping God. But, well, it's what they're fucking worshiping, motherfucker, is that vile fucking thing with all those traits. That's why. Duh. You box of rocks much? Like, fuck. What do you expect? If you're fucking worshiping the Chainsaw Massacre, you're gonna be one of those things. It's like the result's inevitable. So you become like who or what you worship.
Yeah, some of the worst people I know are basically priests. I mean, they're friendly to people that are, of their in group, but that's about it.
Yep, that's about it. That's how it goes, man. Some of the darkest individuals that exist. Priests are evil is another video I'm going to do soon. All priests are evil.
Please do that. Please do.
I will. I definitely will, man.
Awesome. This has been a great conversation, by the way.
It has, man. It was a good, fun time. Well, I think it'll be good to shift on over and chill for the rest of the night, but I love talking to you, man. Good times, and I hope you have a wonderful evening.
Yeah, ciao. Take care.
Talk to you later.
I have viewers. We got one. I think it's probably just Scott. Is the person that's viewing the stream still just perpetual pleasurist, or is Yep, okay, that would be him. There we go. And I'm gonna end the stream now. Ciao, ciao. Take care, y'all.